Today you will experience a life simulation, the life of an ancient Greek philosopher. In 428 BC, you were born into the family of an ordinary stonemason in the city-state of Athens. Your father carves marble at the Parthenon construction site every day. Your mother is a midwife. On the day you arrive in this world, Athens stands at the twilight of the age of Pericles, the entire city radiating the most brilliant light of human civilization. And you, the son of a stonemason, will spend your entire life pursuing one question: how should a person truly live? When you are 3, your father takes you to the Acropolis for the first time. Riding on his shoulders, you climb the rugged stone steps. When the massive Parthenon appears before your eyes, your jaw drops. Those marble columns, taller than any person, stand one beside another like a line of giants. You point at the columns and ask your father, "Why do they stand there?" He laughs and says, "Because they hold up the sky." You ask again, "Then why does the sky need people to hold it up?" Your father has no idea how to answer. You are a child who drives adults crazy. While other kids chase dogs and throw rocks in the street, you squat under an olive tree watching ants carry food for half a day. You ask the old neighbor lady, "Where does the soul go after a person dies?" She nearly jumps out of her skin. You ask the fish seller, "Do you think fish dream underwater?" He curses you for being out of your mind. Your mother sighs and tells your father, "This child will either grow up to be a madman or a genius." When you are 10, your father sends you to the gymnasium. In ancient Greece, the gymnasium is not just a place for physical exercise. It is a school of knowledge. Here you learn reading, writing, arithmetic, music, and athletics. Your grammar teacher is a hot-tempered old man who strikes students' palms with a wooden board. But your favorite class is rhetoric. The teacher shows you how to persuade others with words. You discover that language is more powerful than fists. A single good argument can make the strongest man bow his head. At 14, something completely changes the course of your life. In the Athenian marketplace, the Agora, you encounter a strange old man. Barefoot and wearing a tattered robe, he stands in the middle of the crowd asking questions in a booming voice. He asks a general, "You say you are brave, so what is bravery?" The general cannot answer. He asks a rich merchant, "You say you are happy, so what is happiness?" The merchant cannot answer either. You stand at the back of the crowd, utterly mesmerized. The old man's name is Heraclitus. From that day on, you go to the Agora every day to find the old man. He charges no tuition, teaches at no school. He simply asks questions in the streets, the markets, among the crowds. The first thing he teaches you is, admitting your own ignorance is the beginning of wisdom. You don't quite understand. He says, "Look at those people who think they know everything. They are like cups already full of water. Pour in anything more and it just overflows." You first empty your cup. You go home and think the entire night, and suddenly the world feels bigger. At 20, you have become a well-known debater in the Agora. You have inherited your teacher's method, never giving people answers directly, but instead driving them into intellectual dead ends with a chain of questions, forcing them to discover their own contradictions. The Athenians give this method a name, dialectics. Some people admire you, calling you clever as a fox. Others despise you, calling you a gadfly who exists only to irritate. You don't care. You believe truth is 10,000 times more important than saving face. You begin thinking about larger questions. What is justice? What is virtue? Who should rule a nation? You notice a fatal flaw in Athenian democracy. Anyone can vote, regardless of whether they understand the issues. A cobbler can vote on whether to go to war. A vegetable seller can vote to elect a general. To you, this is like having people who cannot swim command a ship. Sooner or later, it will capsize. This idea makes many people unhappy, but you cannot be bothered to care. In 404 BC, you are 24, and the Peloponnesian War rages on. As an Athenian citizen, you are conscripted into the army. You don heavy bronze armor, grip a spear and round shield, and march in formation with other hoplites. On the battlefield, there is no philosophy, only fear and blood. You watch a comrade fall beside you, a spear through his chest. For the first time, you understand that death is not a philosophical concept. It is real, searing hot, and smells of rust. You survive, but the war leaves a wound in your heart that will never heal. After the war ends, Athens is defeated. The Spartans install a puppet regime called the 30 Tyrants. In 8 months, these 30 despots execute 1,500 Athenian citizens, confiscating property, banishing families, ordering executions. The entire city is shrouded in terror. They even order you to arrest an innocent merchant. You refuse. You know that refusal might mean death, but you say, "I would rather die than commit an act of injustice." Fortunately, the tyranny is soon overthrown, but your disillusionment with politics now runs bone deep. At 30, you make the most important decision of your life. You will build a school. In an olive grove outside Athens, you find a spot near a small shrine dedicated to the hero Academos. Under the shade of those olive trees, you begin teaching. You charge no tuition. Anyone may come and listen. You and your students walk beneath the trees, discussing, debating. People call this place the Academy, Academia. 2,400 years later, the entire world still uses that name. Your academy is unlike any other school. You do not teach students to memorize ready-made answers. You teach them to ask questions. Every class is a dialogue. You play the one who knows nothing, and students try to convince you. In the process, their own thinking is peeled back layer by layer until they reach the core of the problem. One young man named Aristocles is exceptionally brilliant. You give him the nickname Plato, meaning broad-shouldered, because he is an excellent wrestler. He goes on to become your greatest student. Your fame grows and grows. The brightest young minds in Athens flock to hear you lecture. Generals, politicians, poets, physicians, all seek you out to discuss ideas. When you debate in the agora, the crowds around you swell until sometimes the entire square is packed. You discuss the nature of the soul, the origin of the universe, the blueprint for an ideal state. You declare, "The unexamined life is not worth living." That sentence echoes across the entire Greek world. You become friends with the most powerful politician in Athens, Periander. He often visits the academy, and you walk together under the olive trees, discussing matters of governance. You tell him, a good ruler must first rule himself. Greed, fear, anger, these are the true tyrants, and they live inside every person's heart. Periander nods thoughtfully. But you know that in the world of politics, between good advice and good outcomes lies an unfathomable chasm. At 45, you write your most important work. In the form of dialogues, you record your debates with all manner of people. You envision an ideal republic, where philosophers serve as kings, everyone fulfills their proper role, and justice shines upon all like sunlight. You compare the real world to a cave, where people are chained inside, seeing only shadows on the wall and believing those shadows to be reality. The philosopher's mission is to walk out of the cave, behold the true sun, and then return to tell the people inside. Your academy attracts students from across the entire Greek world. One young man from Macedonia stands out. His name is Aristotle. He arrives at your academy at 17 and stays for 20 years. He is extraordinarily intelligent, but equally stubborn. You argue until your faces turn red. He declares, truth matters more than the teacher. Hearing this, you do not get angry. You burst out laughing. You say, good, now that is my student. But beneath the sunlight, dark currents churn. Your philosophy has enraged many. By questioning democracy, you have offended democratic politicians. By teaching aristocratic youth to think independently, you have made noble parents feel you are corrupting their children. By not believing in the traditional gods, you have earned the bone-deep hatred of conservative priests. Most fatally, a former student of yours later became a traitor. Though it was not your fault, people hold you responsible. In Athens, hatred grows like weeds. It needs no watering to spread. In 399 BC, no wait, that was Socrates' year. Your trial comes a bit later. At 56, 3 Athenian citizens file a joint indictment against you. The charges are two. First, refusing to recognize the gods sanctioned by the state and introducing new deities. Second, corrupting the minds of the youth. A jury of 501 Athenian citizens is assembled. You must defend yourself before them. As you walk into the courtroom, your mind is extraordinarily calm. You tell yourself, if not even death can stop me from pursuing truth, then nothing can. Your defense stuns everyone. You do not beg for mercy, do not weep, do not bring your family to win sympathy. You stand before 500 people and calmly say, everything I have done in my life is make you think. If thinking is a crime, then I plead guilty. If pursuing truth is corrupting the youth, then I will gladly keep corrupting. You can kill me, but you cannot kill philosophy. Because as long as one person begins to ask why, I am still alive. The courtroom falls completely silent. Then the voting begins. The verdict, 280 votes guilty, 221 votes not guilty. You are convicted, but the margin is so narrow that even your enemies are surprised. Under Athenian law, you have the right to propose an alternative punishment. Your friends beg you to propose exile, leave Athens, and continue teaching in another city-state. But you refuse. You say, to flee is to admit I was wrong. I was not wrong. Your proposed alternative punishment, the city of Athens should feed you for free because your contributions to this city deserve that honor. The jury is thoroughly enraged. The final sentence, death. You are locked in an Athenian prison. It is a dark stone cell with only a small window letting in sunlight. But your students visit you every day. You continue discussing philosophy in the cell as if nothing has happened. You debate whether the soul is immortal, whether death is a form of liberation, whether justice will ultimately triumph over injustice. The guard watching over you says, I have watched over many prisoners, but I have never seen a man laugh while waiting to die. Your most loyal student, Plato, comes to you in tears. He says he has arranged everything, bribing the guards, preparing a boat. Tonight you can escape Athens for Thebes or Corinth. You look at his swollen red eyes and gently shake your head. You say, my entire life I have taught others to uphold justice. If today I break the law to save my own life, then every word I have ever spoken becomes a lie. The law has sentenced me to death. Whether that verdict is right or wrong, I must accept it, because I cannot enjoy the protection of the law while running away the moment it turns against me. On the morning of the execution, the sunlight is unusually bright. You bathe and put on clean clothes. Your wife brings your 3 children to see you one last time. She trembles and weeps uncontrollably. You hold her in your arms and say, don't cry. Death is just a long journey. Perhaps the scenery on the other side is even more beautiful. The children are too young to understand what is happening. Your youngest son tugs at your hand and asks, Daddy, are you coming home for dinner today? You kneel down, kiss his forehead, and say, yes. At dusk, the guard brings a cup of hemlock juice. When you take it, your hands are steady. Your students surround you. Some have already broken into open sobs. You smile and say, what are you doing? I sent my wife away precisely to avoid this kind of scene. You grown men, how can you cry more than a woman? Then you calmly drink the poison. The hemlock takes effect from the feet, slowly spreading upward. Your legs lose feeling first, then your waist, then your chest. You lie down and speak your last words to Plato. I still owe Asclepius a rooster. Don't forget to pay it for me. Then you close your eyes. After your death, the Athenians quickly fill with regret. They realize they have killed the wisest man in the city. Your student Plato spends the rest of his life recording your ideas. Every dialogue he writes features you as the protagonist. Plato later founds his own academy. His student Aristotle goes on to establish the Lyceum. And Aristotle's student becomes Alexander the Great. Those words you casually spoke under the olive trees, through this chain of teacher and student, altered the course of the entire world. 2,400 years have passed. The Parthenon has become ruins, the city-state of Athens no longer exists, and your olive grove has long since vanished. But the questions you asked, what is justice, what is truth, what is a good life, people still ask them today. In every university in the world, there is a course called philosophy. The word means love of wisdom. That is the first lesson you taught the world, and also the last. This was your life. You had no army, no crown, no gold or silver. You had only a pair of bare feet